And I have a message for you. All of you. You wanna come to Europe, huh? Stupid! Stupid! I get so many questions. Chef, I wanna work with you here in Europe. Chef, arrange a job for me in Europe. Guys, life is a bitch in Europe. Life is not what you think it is in Europe. And your brothers and sisters that are here now will not tell you that because they're already ashamed. Okay? They're already ashamed. So they come home to you, they say, oh, life is fantastic. It's not.
For you to go and work hard in Europe, for you to help Europe get back on track. Why won't you stay in Africa and make Africa get on track? It doesn't make sense. You're an African, so why don't you want to help your own continent?
The favor Africans get from Europe is not in equality with the favor Europeans get from Africa. Africa is always welcoming when it comes to Europeans, which is also when it comes to visas. For an African citizen to get a visa to come to a European country is very draining and almost impossible because the rejection rate is very high.
Now contrast that with the way many Africans are treated when they choose to live in the United Kingdom or France or other parts of Europe. The difference is incredible. The everyday racism experienced by African people on the European continent is a crime against humanity.
Guys, welcome to All News Pulse. In this video, we are going to explore a growing and surprising trend: white Europeans and Americans warning Africans not to migrate to the West. Why are they saying this? Is the Western dream not what it seems? Through real voices, personal stories, and hard truth, we uncover the other side of migration that mainstream media often ignores. Is life in Europe or America really better? What challenges do immigrants face that no one talks about? And why are some Westerners now encouraging Africans to stay and build at home? Watch till the end to hear different perspectives and decide for yourself. Credit belongs to all original creators of these clips. Kindly subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Why is nobody talking about this? Ever since I came to Africa, many Africans have come to me and said they will pay me thousands of dollars for me to help them to go to Europe. I haven't helped a single person, and I'm not going to do that. Ask yourself, why, if Europe is so fantastic, why am I then in Africa? Does that make sense? If my own place is so fantastic, why would I be here? Now, you are ready to pay me thousands of dollars for you to go and work hard in Europe, for you to help Europe get back on track. Why won't you stay in Africa and make Africa get on track? It doesn't make sense. You're an African, so why don't you want to help your own continent to grow and prosper? But you want to go to my continent and make that prosper. It doesn't make sense. If you have thousands of dollars that you want to give me for me to help you to go there, spend those thousands of dollars to set up a business here in Africa. And if you need help with that one, I'm willing to help you, but I will never help you to go to Europe and suffer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Depends on the location you are watching from. The favor Africans get from Europe is not in equality with the favor Europeans get from Africa. Africa is always welcoming when it comes to Europeans, which is also when it comes to visas. For an African citizen to get a visa to come to a European country is very draining and almost impossible because the rejection rate is very high. Because of all these things, a lot of African countries now change their policies, as well Namibia, and since the 1st of April 2025, nationals of 17 European Union Schengen area countries need to obtain a visa in order to be permitted to enter Namibia, which I welcome because equal right and justice or nothing. What the Europeans doing with Africans since it is unacceptable, and for me it is a welcome development. Africa have to liberate themselves and give the same rule to Europeans as Europeans gives to them. Announcing the news, the authorities of Namibia said that the type of document that the affected EU nationals will need to obtain its visa on arrival. That means the visa requirements will be applied upon arrival in Namibia. The list of EU Schengen countries whose passport holders are subject to the visa on arrival requirement in Namibia from today is as follows: Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland and Ireland. While the 17 EU Schengen countries have just today been added to the list of countries whose nationals need a visa on arrival for Namibia, the visa requirement has already been applied to a number of other countries part of the bloc. Passport holders of Croatia, Bulgaria, Czech, Estonia, Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Vatican City State have to be subject to the visa on arrival requirement for some time now. Visa requirement introduces a reciprocal measure by making it mandatory for the EU Schengen area nationals of the countries listed above to obtain a visa on arrival. The authorities explained that Namibia aims to promote fair and balanced diplomatic relations with the countries that have not reciprocated simplified rules. They also said that since Namibia does not have a visa liberalism agreement with the European Union in place, all its passport holders need to obtain a Schengen visa in order to be permitted to entry into the bloc. When Namibians are applying for a Schengen visa, nationals of Namibia need to submit a number of documents and meet several criteria. The short-term Schengen visa permits its holders to stay in the territory of the Schengen area up to 90 days within any 180 days period. Those who want to remain in the bloc for a longer period for study, work purposes, among others, need to apply for a national visa. According to the statistics, passport holder of Namibia filed only 5,575 Schengen visa applications in 2023. Of the total number of applicants, 5,172 of them were granted a visa, whereas 271 of them had their applications rejected. So guys, as I said before, equal right and justice, for me, it's a welcome development. I think every African country should make sure that if Europeans want to come and visit the continent of Africa, they should also apply for a visa. And visa on arrival is still very friendly because most of African countries, they have to apply the visa in an embassy of the European country they want to visit, and it will be rejected even before they can enter the plane. So for me, even they should change that, and European citizens should apply their visa in the embassy of the country they want to visit, and then if they get it granted, they can now go.
I dedicate this video to all my African brothers in Africa who are chefs. And I have a message for you. All of you. You wanna come to Europe, huh? Stupid! I get so many questions. Chef, I wanna work with you here in Europe. Chef, arrange a job for me in Europe. Guys, life is a bitch in Europe. Life is not what you think it is in Europe. And your brothers and sisters that are here now will not tell you that because they're already ashamed. Okay? They're already ashamed. So they come home to you, they say, "Oh, life is fantastic." It's not. I lived 14 years in Tanzania. 14 years. Life is better. There's so much opportunity in Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya. All my brothers and sisters there, trust me, if you work hard, you graft hard, your life is much better. You want to know what's happening here in Europe when you come here? I'll give you my breakdown, okay? My flat, my tiny flat, 1,400 euros a month. My energy bill, 250 euros a month. My gas bill, 100 euros a month. My car license, my car insurance, 45 euros. My mobile phone, 50 euros. My TV, 40 euros. My local government tax, 160 euros a month. My list goes on. At the end of the month, I spent 3,000 euros only bills. And I'm not even fucking living yet. Then I have to buy my groceries, all my shit. So I come down to 4,000 euros. And you people, you think you come here, oh, I earn 4,000 euros. No, you're not, you dumb fuck. You pay taxes and bills, and you cannot escape it. You cannot escape those bills. The system is created that way. So if you earn your 400 euros in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Congo, you're way better off. And you have fucking freedom and a beautiful country. I want to quit in Europe. The only good thing here is my kids' education. That's it. But when that little fucker turns 18, I'm flying away back to Tanzania with the grace of God. So please stop asking me for jobs and shit from Africa. Life is not what you think it is. Suck on that. Now get the fuck back to work. Stop this video.
Tell you something, this video will not be long. Don't come to Europe. If you are a Nigerian, African, you have Jackpot syndrome, stay in your country, learn a profitable skill. You will make it. Don't come to Europe. Even if you must travel abroad, remove Europe from your mind. I can't speak for other continents because I have not lived there, but I've lived a decade in Europe, and I can tell you for free, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time, your energy, your strength. They think we don't deserve the best. They leave the menial jobs for us. They treat us some type of way because of our skin color. Racism is real in Europe. Like, somebody can literally don't like you because of how you look. Don't come to Europe. If you want to learn trading or you want to learn any skill, please learn it in Nigeria. Learn it where you are. You will make it. Don't travel abroad. Except you're traveling for vacation. Don't come and live here. Don't do it.
The UK is not safe for black boys. It just isn't safe for black boys. I've noticed a trend amongst African parents sending their boys back to Africa when they reach about ages 10 to 13. And the reason that they're doing this is because it's just not safe for black boys. Because there's a real danger to them. Because they are forced into gangs. And they're black boys. They feel like they have to carry knives with them because they feel like that's the only way they can protect themselves. And it's a real crisis. So a lot of Africans are sending their kids back home to whichever country they're from, sending their kids to boarding school. There's actually one kid who actually thanked his parents for saving his life by sending him back to Ghana, because he said that his parents tricked him, but he thinks he's alive today because they took him back to school in Ghana. It's actually quite frightening what is happening to black boys in the UK. But African parents have resorted to just sending them back home for their own protection.
People in West Africa are starting to live better than people in the Western world. Now, I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm talking about if you're well-to-do, if you're doing pretty good in your life, it's better to be doing really well in Africa than it is to be in America. Now, I'm currently in America, and it's like a little bit of a culture shock coming back from Africa, because when you come here, you're around people who, on paper, they're very successful, rich, and all that. But all these people are drowning in debt. They got a nice car, but they don't own it. They've got a lease on it. They may say that they own a house, but they kind of do, but they have a huge mortgage on it. But in Africa, people own everything outright. And what does this lead to, like, in day-to-day life? Well, when you know someone who's well-to-do in Africa, they're a lot more relaxed. They feel like they can go on trips with you. They're a lot more generous. People here, even though they may have a lot of money on paper in America, the second they let their foot off the gas, the second they stop hustling, those bills will catch up on them really quick. And it shows, like, kind of why I feel West Africa is the future, because here people are putting up an appearance of being rich, well-to-do, but it's fueled by debt, and it's fueled by them working 2 jobs. Husband and wife are both working high-paying jobs, 50 hours a week each, and doing all of that to just create this facade. Whereas in West Africa, once these guys have made it, they're living good lives. They're having that balance in life, and they're not killing themselves. So I think long-term, who am I betting on? I'm betting on the lifestyle of West Africa. The life expectancy in West Africa is not 54 years of age or whatever they're reporting on Wikipedia. The actual life expectancy in West Africa is between 75 and 77 years of age, which means demographically people are actually living longer and more healthy in West Africa than they are in America. But let me break down this, because a lot of troll comments come into every single one of my videos and kind of smugly say, oh, well, Africans are dying so young. They're not. If you've lived in Africa, you know that's not the case. So many people have family members living into their 90s. The reason that the life expectancy is listed so low on the World Health Organization comes down to how they report infant mortality. Now, this might shock you that they report abortions and stillbirths towards life expectancy, but they don't do that in the Western world. This has been confirmed by multiple OBGYN journals, but let me just give you a quick summary for this. Women don't like to report that they've had an abortion or a stillbirth, particularly in villages. They report those as the child died in childbirth, which then is counted towards infant mortality. And if you want to see the impact for this, what I did was I just did a simple regression analysis. I took reported infant mortality, reported life expectancy, and it was nearly a direct correlation, meaning the delta between the Western world and West Africa is entirely these reported infant mortality rates. The reality is that Americans are much less healthy. They have much higher BMIs, and so they are actually living less long than most West Africans.
I've lived in 5 different countries in Africa. I've lived in Malawi, Botswana, Zambia, Morocco, and Nigeria. I have also traveled extensively in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Egypt. Never once in all my years of living or traveling on the African continent have I been mistreated in any way because of my ethnicity, because of my skin color. And this is in spite of the fact that I come from a country who are guilty for some of the worst colonial crimes ever inflicted throughout human history. That's right, I was born in Great Britain. And without doubt, the British and the French committed the greatest atrocities across the continent of Africa. The Belgians have a good claim for the greatest atrocity in their treatment of the Congolese, but if one looks at it as an entity and the number of countries that were invaded by the British and French colonialists, one will see that they are the worst protagonists. Despite this, and despite the behavior of my ancestors, I have never been mistreated. In fact, I have been welcomed warmly in all of the countries I have lived in or visited. And when in Africa, I don't cocoon myself in some enclave dome which is inhabited by people who like to refer to themselves as expats. I hate that term. But no, I integrate as much as possible within local society. I will go to the shebeen. I will go to any compound and experience life as it is for people in the country where I am based. So whether that's in the village, whether it's in the township, whether it's in the local bar, I will integrate, I will mix, and I am always made welcome. Now contrast that with the way many Africans are treated when they choose to live in the United Kingdom or France or other parts of Europe. The difference is incredible. The everyday racism experienced by African people on the European continent is a crime against humanity. Now, there are different types of racism. The most obvious is the day-to-day experience that an African will have whilst living in parts of Europe. The name calling, the staring, the subtle discrimination. And for many Africans, they will just brush it off because it is so common that they just get used to it, sadly. Worse, though, is the institutional and structural racism that Africans have to abide with. The restrictions on their movements, the fact that most passports emulating from the African continent will only allow Africans to travel visa-free to a handful of countries. And most of those will be other African countries or countries in the Caribbean. And moreover, the difficulty that Africans have finding work in Europe is unimaginable. People who are qualified as doctors, accountants, lawyers, university lecturers, nurses, teachers do not have their qualifications and experiences recognized by most European countries. I know many people from Africa working in various parts of Europe as security guards or as care assistants when back home they had highly skilled professional jobs. But that experience is rarely recognized when they come to Europe unless they come as part of a transfer with an existing company. But if they come because they've migrated to Europe, their chances of accessing the sort of job which they are eminently capable of is slim. Now, if a black person was making this video, they would be quickly dismissed. They'd be dismissed as having an axe to grind or always trying to find problems. And again, that's part of racism. The fact that I can speak because of my white privilege means that I have a duty to do so. Not because I'm married to an African woman or because I have many African friends, but because I like to think I'm a decent human being who appreciates the value in every person on our planet.